and the Messis of the world, as they have shown just how long they can go. But the youth of Lamine Yamal and Spain able to move on. They go to Los Angeles Friday. They will take on the winner of our next game, Belgium and the United States. The camera's finding Ronaldo. This was his 27th World Cup match. He scored 11 goals, made his World Cup debut over 20 years ago, June 11th, 2006. And now he has to sit and stare at Spain, who moves on to the quarterfinals. Lex, Spain saved it for late, but got the result that I think most will say is probably deserved.
Yeah, I think when you look at these two teams, I do think that at times they were evenly matched. You know, this was not Mexico-England. This kind of was a fizzle of a game and a fizzling ending for that man there. But he is a legend regardless of what happened here. There will always be talk about was it right to bring him? Was it right to start him? Was it right to play him? Scored some goals here. Certainly didn't star in the way that we've seen him in the past. But ultimately, I don't think that anybody would have been surprised if I told you that Spain was going to beat Portugal in a very close game and ultimately edge them out. And yeah, they left it late, but they just kept playing and playing their game and not letting themselves get stretched. And then substitutions, as we heard, are important. They can change and fundamentally change the game.
Surprised he stayed on the field to close it out?
Not really. I think the bed was made by Roberto Martinez and this Portugal team.
I think this game was always going to be a chess match. The fact that Spain hasn't conceded a goal yet in this tournament, how lucky were we to get, you know, what we saw in the UEFA Nation League final as a round of 16 game. Sorry for Cristiano Ronaldo to go out of the tournament for what he's given to us on the international and club level. I don't know what his future holds, but it's been a joy to watch him play. And shout out to De La Fuente, the coach of Spain. He made all the right decisions. His subs came on and made the difference. Torres, finding Marino with a great finish, and on the day, Spain with a better side.
And look, you know, you see Ronaldo here, obviously very emotional. Probably most likely his last World Cup. I think what's disappointing, you know, for me and probably a lot of others is, you know, we talked about this Portuguese side coming into the World Cup that could potentially contend for this World Cup and win this World Cup, and their midfield being one of the best midfields of the World Cup, and Bruno Fernandes just not really having a pulse and a key cog within this team. And there's something off about this Portuguese side. They just haven't been able to figure it out. You know, a lot of us have talked in studio. You hear Thierry and Clarence talking about, you know, not getting the service into Ronaldo. So there's definitely something, a vibe that just hasn't been clicking with this Portuguese side. And Spain, you know, to their credit, haven't been unbelievably amazing, but found a way to get it done.
I don't think we ultimately saw the best of this Portugal team. And again, it was of their own creation. And, you know, you saw pictures of Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously, he's emotional with what he has been through and done as a player, certainly for this country. And who knows, but it looks like he's not going to get that final piece in the hardware of a World Cup. But, you know, this is oftentimes an anti-hero, especially in the inevitable compare and contrast with Messi. But that man right there, he bleeds for this country, and he has worked obviously incredibly hard to be given these opportunities, and he has cachet, which is evidenced by his appearance and his continual appearance, even when people are criticizing him and the coach. But this is not all on that man right there by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I think Cristiano walks out of this tournament chest held high. I mean, he scored 3 goals. He did what he could to try to help his team. Like I said, it's been a pleasure to watch him play, and if it's his last time representing Portugal, I've really enjoyed that. I also want to give a shout out to Costa, the goalkeeper of Portugal. I thought he was amazing today. Did everything he could to keep his team in the game, and ultimately Spain with a better side.
So we now have our 5th of 8 quarterfinalists. Spain goes through. They head to LA Friday. They will meet the winner of our next match today here on Fox, the United States, taking on Belgium. 90+1, the sub, Mikel Merino with his 11th international goal. First on the World Cup stage, the Arsenal man, the game winner for Spain as they advance and move on to the round of 8. Reaction in Madrid. Spain off to the quarterfinals. For the first time since 2010, it was also the only time they ever lifted the World Cup title. So
welcome to Seattle. They found us again. Just doing some quick math, we're about 2 hours and 47 minutes away from kickoff here in Seattle. Gorgeous day in the Pacific Northwest. What a beautiful crowd behind us. So glad you're here with us. Rob Stone, U.S. legends, Carly Lloyd, Clint Dempsey, and Alexi Lawless with you. The top 5 showdown between Portugal and your 2010 winner Spain presented the age-old battle between youth and maturity. 41-year-old Ronaldo in his final World Cup facing the next big thing in international soccer, the 18-year-old Spaniard Lamine Yamal. Picked this one up, 8th minute, and what a golden opportunity.
Yeah, strange play. Oyarzabal gets in. Kind of everybody stops playing thinking he's offside, but you look at it, not only is he onside, he's well onside. Maybe even he thought he was offside. Either way, fluffed his lines. Yeah, I understand.
And when you think about players you'll pay money to go watch play, it's this play right here, Lamine Yamal. Looks how he cuts inside. Good save from Costa. Goes straight to Alex, and what a save by Costa again. He was on fire today, stood on his head, parried the ball away there, and look at this save. Fingertips, keeps his team in the game.
Yeah, this was just a tight first half between these two teams. Mendes getting a shot here off the crossbar, but what an opportunity.
Not much to speak of in the second half until stoppage time. 90+1. Ferran Torres finding Mikel Merino.
Merino coming on as a sub and doing what a sub needs to do, make an impact. Well, no bigger impact than scoring a goal. Yeah, we see you, my friend. Wonderful timing, well on sides. Everybody screams and yells. It doesn't matter when you score, Rob Stone. You just got to score.
2 subs.
Right at the end there. Yes. Here, we take another look at it. Wonderful little one-touch play. Yeah, that's onside. Little Meg right there. Puts it near post.
29th goal scored after the 90th minute this World Cup. That doesn't even include the 4 goals scored in extra time. Almost had another one, though, 90+6.
Almost. And Silva, a sub coming off the bench, but his header, he cannot get this one on frame. Portugal's chances, not good.
Final numbers for Ronaldo, 3 shots, 19 touches. It is Spain moving on to the quarterfinals. Friday, they will be in LA to take on the winner of our next game. Ronaldo surrounded by teammates on the walkout, but that was a solitary journey once he got inside that tunnel. So Spain, pour him a glass, sit back, take in the notes, and drink it up. Spaniards.
To Portugal to counter and to hurt them a little bit more than I expected.
You're loving Lamine Yamal, aren't you? You keep oohing and purring and ahhing every time. He's completely happy, isn't he, to kind of run in behind, which you're enjoying.
He's just so exciting to watch, and he hasn't had a lot in the game, but I just like his willingness to run in behind. I think with a lot of young players now, you see them come to the ball, wanting the ball to feet all the time and to show the tricks and the skills, but I think just the other side of it as well, and coming short, then running behind, and yeah, it just hasn't had that pass through to him. But yeah, he's just so exciting. I love watching him.
Spain have had their chances, and they've looked good. What are Portugal doing at the moment to frustrate them?
I think they're defending quite well, getting numbers behind the ball. But I think from a Spanish point of view, it's that clinical edge, just that final pass, that final end product, and for Portugal, I feel like, it has been a bit cat and mouse. They've used the wide areas quite well, but it's getting the balls into the box and the right areas as well. And for Spain, I think Yamal's done really well stretching the pitch, which has then opened up the pockets of space for Olmo. He's got lovely spaces, and Pedri as well, pockets of space. He's just doing that a little bit more and just stretching the Portuguese back line. They want to be on the ball. They want to be moving the ball, which they've done against Croatia. I thought they'd have more tempo, more intensity, and I think maybe second half that's what we'll see.
And is some of that, as you just alluded to there, Cesar, what Ellen said about the kind of cat and mouse with the full-backs from Portugal?
Yeah, I think Portugal, if they want to have a chance to stretch Spain and to offer something different. Here we can see the example that Mendes plays straight to Cancelo. So now Mendes spots Lamin's Yamal position, so he has to stay back. Cancelo finished with a shot. But here the other example with Bruno on the left, Mendes makes the run, and as soon as the keeper gets the ball, then we see Yamal is in between Bruno Fernandes and João Neves. So nobody gets into position of Mendes as a left back. So he's in between both. And then we see that the space is there. So as soon as Yamal gets the ball, he's in the box, one against Neves, which I don't think Portugal wants to risk in this situation and coming Bruyne from the shot. And here they are arguing, I think, between Bruno and João Neves, who was the one to take Nuno Mendes' position.
It's a risk, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big risk to leave Yamal like that. And I think that's the organisation, when you're in possession for Portugal, that they have to get right, because if they don't, sooner or later they're going to get punished. Where
are Spain's best chances coming from then, Ellen?
I think for me it's actually been, central in field when they're using Olmo in those pockets of space, Pedri, Baina as well, and then it's getting into the box. It's that final product, and when they've really stretched the back line, those pockets have really opened up. It's been really exciting. Oyarzabal had a huge chance, a huge opportunity. And when they press and get numbers around the ball and win the ball in that central areas, then they're stretching the ball, then there's pockets open. It's a beautiful run from Oyarzabal, but then I think he thought he was offside. I think he snatched at the chance. He's been cool, calm and collected in the previous games. He just needed that clinical edge, and that would have completely transformed the first half as well.
That was so early on in the half as well.
And I think, that kind of, took them by surprise a little bit, and I think they were frustrated. Yamal on this right-hand side has been brilliant when he's been able to get the space and be on the ball, and this is the chance we obviously saw, and it's a brilliant save. Just the way that he gets it onto his left foot. It's probably quite an easy and comfortable save, but this one is just unbelievable. Probably didn't get quite enough height on it, but it's a lovely save. But when they've had those opportunities, it's just that final product, that final end product. And this one from Olmo, it's a lovely run. He's just holding his position, and then Pedri, we see here, what a ball. And it's just that final, can you just really kind of commit to that chance? Can you really throw yourself at the ball? But yeah, you see he's got beautiful space here, Pedri, and then you've got numbers in the box, Oyarzabal, and then also Olmo he just couldn't quite get that contact. But the chances are there, and I think they're creating them. It's just that final bit.
Of course, we've all been on a little bit of Ronaldo watch and working out where he could be most effective. I'll give you his numbers. No chances created, no dribbles, 2 shots on targets, but just 12 touches. And actually, we were going to have a look, and we will do that in a second, at the great Simon moment, a save, a rather dramatic but very good save. But actually, you asked to pull it back a little bit because you've seen where Portugal perhaps could get Ronaldo in a bit more.
Yeah, I don't think we'd expect him to have, 100 touches a game. We know what his game is. His game has been in the box. But if you look at him here, if you're playing Cristiano Ronaldo, you have to use him. And still, one of his big strengths is heading the ball and being in the box and being in the middle of the goal. And here, I think the ball could have went into the box there, where he's 1v1. It could go into the box here from Bruno. But they refused to put it in. So I think if you're playing him, you have to use him, because this is still a big threat. This and set pieces is still he's still a massive threat for Portugal. The ball comes in the box, and now this is just instinctive. He does really well to get the connection and get the ball going back towards the goal. So he's unlucky here. But I just think for Portugal, if Ronaldo's playing, you have to play to his strength, and his strength is not giving him the ball 30 yards from goal anymore. It's getting it into the penalty area where he can still be effective, and I think they can do it a little bit earlier, which will give him a better chance of scoring.
I can just hear Joe Hart saying Hollywood save, because it looks so incredible, doesn't it? And that extends his World Cup run of not conceding to 564 minutes.
Amazing. hopefully it keeps going.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
he'll be hoping so, but became very close there, didn't he, to actually concede.
Yeah.
Both goalkeepers actually have had their moments.
Yeah, they had their moments, and just adding to Wayne's point about Cristiano and the crosses, I think it will help him if they have more bodies in the box.
Yeah.
Like the one you mentioned, yeah, Bruno was on the ball, but just was himself in the box. And as soon as Joao Felix came a bit to occupy the second post, then I think he has more chances. So,
but I think that comes from Portugal imposing themselves a little bit more and having more possession in Spain's half, more control of the game. If they do that, it allows players to get a little bit close to him, and then the runs into the penalty box are not as big. At the minute, with Spain having a bit more possession, Portugal are trying to get there a bit in a rush, and then the run for the midfield players or the wide players to get in the box and support him is a little bit longer, so it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Mendes arguably with their best chance.
Yeah, and I think it was, a brilliant chance for them, and I think, it was a brilliant corner, a great kind of inventive one, obviously from the training pitch, and he's got an unbelievable strike on it. He's already done about 2 or 3 crossfield passes to Cancelo, but it's a slight, obviously, deflection, but it's a wonderful strike, and I'm sure that crossbar's probably still rattling now, to be honest. But yeah, they are creating, and I think those wide areas are really important for them. And obviously, they could make change in the second. Leao was brilliant in the previous game, and something different. And he loves to cross the ball. He done a wonderful cross for Ramos's goal. So maybe something different to mix it up in the second half as well.
OK, time now then to remind you of all the content available across the BBC. Well, there was extraordinary news yesterday when Folarin Balogun's suspension for his red card against Bosnia was suspended, meaning he's available for tonight's match. The forward was sent off against Bosnia-Herzegovina after a VAR review, and with no appeal process in place, looked certain to miss the last 16 clash with Belgium. However, FIFA confirmed on Sunday that his ban had been suspended. Speaking to the media on Monday, US President Donald Trump confirmed he asked FIFA President Gianni Infantino to review Balogun's ban. Trump said he believed football's world governing body made the right decision. The Belgium FA issued a statement on Sunday saying they were astonished that Balogun had been cleared to play. They appealed the decision, but it was subsequently dismissed, meaning the 23-year-old is set to feature in Seattle in the early hours of tomorrow morning. We're going to reflect more on that and on England's victory over Mexico a little bit later. But England's opponents in the quarter-final on Saturday